Hello, I'm Dr. Jeremy St. John. Today I want to demonstrate the SumProduct function. And I've got a nice little definition of the SumProduct function here. It returns the sum of the products of corresponding ranges. Well, for all functions, I want you to think of them as pre-written formulas. They might have code in there too, but it doesn't matter. We can't look at the underlying formula or code because these things have been compiled and they're out there. They have a name. We need to know the name. All we need to know is the name of the thing, what it needs from us, which we call the arguments, and what it returns to us, which is the answer, right? So in this case, it returns to us the sum of the products of corresponding ranges. We have to provide the ranges that we want to give it. So all functions, I'm going to put the function down here in C7, the SumProduct function. What it does, let's look at what it does. It takes the corresponding ranges, which in this case I have highlighted in blue and this other yellowy, greeny, drabby color. So the range of B2 to B5 and C2 to C5, those are my two ranges. They must be corresponding. So that means a couple of things. One requirement is they have to be the same size. The other is each cell has to correspond with the other, and whether in the same equivalent positions. That means the first position of the first range has to correspond with the first position of the second range. The second position has to correspond with of the first range has to correspond with the second position of the second range, and so on. What it does is it takes the first position of the first range and multiplies it by the first position of the second range. That's the product, multiplication, the product. And then it adds the second position of the first range times the second position of the second range. So it adds up the products of the corresponding positions in these two ranges. So here, if I give it these two ranges, the SumProduct function in the background, it's going to take 3 in cell B2 and multiply it by $25, which is the position, which is C2, the corresponding position in the other range. 3 times $25 plus 4 times $30 plus 5 times $45 plus 6 times $15. That's what it'll do. So and then it'll return the answer of the sum of the products. So in cell C7, start with an equal sign, then the name of the function, which in this case is SumProduct, and then an open parenthesis. And I'm going to have a closed parenthesis at the end of this. Within the parentheses, I give it my arguments. So in this case, 2 ranges. I'll choose the first one. It'll be B2 to B6. The order doesn't matter. You can have one range be the first one range be the second one, because after all, 3 times 25 is the same as 25 times 3. So the order doesn't matter. Arguments need to be separated by commas. This is true for all functions. The arguments are separated by commas. So don't put an asterisk in here or a plus sign or a minus sign. People like to do that. I'm not sure why. These functions tend to be pretty smart and ignore that kind of stuff, but still don't do it. Okay, and then a closed parenthesis. So you can see, again, up in the formula bar, you can also see the underlying formula. When I hit enter, I get $510. So it took 3 times 25 plus 4 times 30 plus 5 times 45 plus 6 times 15. And the SumProduct function is one of the most important, especially with building decision models, optimization models using linear programming. And in general, it's probably the second most important to the sum function and most common that you see. And that's just because of the way a lot of our Excel data is laid out. It's laid out just like this, and it just lends itself. So SumProduct function is definitely one you need to know.